hey, come on by. We're open, from 12 to 8 every day. Fresh beer. Come by, bring your dog, get $2 off.
Yeah.
And that was mainly because I was just so bored. And I wanted people to bring their dogs by and just kind of think of fun ways to engage with people in those like kind of dark, unsure times and give people something that, some sort of normalcy.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that a lot of people were missing out on was that bit of normalcy. And yeah, I mean, in Texas, we had the same situation for a while where you could only get beers to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only way a lot of them survived, unless they had food. And then, we did the tag team situation where if you have food, you can bring, or you can buy beer and so forth.
Oh, that's weird. We didn't have that here.
That would have been, I think, probably better for everybody.
Everybody.
But again, they still feel different. You see, you go to the grocery store now, people still wearing masks. So people still feel one way or the other about, how they feel about going out in public. A lot of people who didn't like going out in public in general were like, sweet, get to stay home.
Yeah,
and then there were some people that were like, damn, I would really love going out in public, but, I got to wear a mask, so it's not the worst thing in the world.
If it wasn't for the local community, we would have gone out of business, without a doubt. Our community showed up and supported us when we needed them, so that's why coming out of this, how can we be better every day? How can I bring something genuine to the market? It's always been a main thought of mine and a main kind of goal of everything is everything with purpose and for a reason, but now it has a lot more. I owe it to the community that supported us through that whole entire time to come correct.
Yeah.
And try to push the boundaries of whatever we did again before even further.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you still want to give back, even more so than you did before.
Mm-hmm.
So. Now let's go back to the fun stuff. What was your gateway craft beer?
So, Bass before it got ruined. And like Red Hook ESB, I think are the two first like beers. Also, that beer before it got ruined as well.
Yeah.
That was like a major difference to light lagers and like boring beer. But my parents were never like, they're more like wine drinkers, and that was at holidays. My family was growing up weren't big drinkers at all.
Yeah.
The family would have a bottle of whiskey somebody gave my dad for Christmas and it would sit on top of the fridge until the next year when that guy came. So I wasn't really introduced to a lot of different things at a young age. But I worked at a beer distributor when I was in high school.
Right.
And at that point, I'd already started homebrewing. So I was learning about beers and trying different things and doing different things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So yeah, probably Bass and Red Hook ESB were kind of the two that were like kind of the first beers that I was like, this is different.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of ESBs really as much anymore. I mean, I feel like are very slowly starting to become. That's just because people want to try making them again because they're not seeing them.
Yeah, they don't see them.
Yeah, so
if you marketed an ESB as an amber, it'll sell like crazy. But if
Yeah.
you put ESB on it, people are like, "What is that?"
Yeah, and then you put bitter.
Extra special bitter. I
Right.
don't want that. I don't want a bitter beer.
Right. Well, so I used to work in wine, so the same thing with like Brut and Extra Dry when it comes to champagne. It's Iceland, Greenland. Brut is the dry one, and Extra Dry is actually the sweet one, but people always go to the Brut. And so anytime I'll go to a party and they have champagne, I'm like, this is probably a Brut, isn't it? Sure enough. Yep. Extra dry, and I don't want any part of that. So, top 3 favorite beers you have made here.
Ooh, that's a fun one. Cristobal.
Okay.
For sure. It's been one of our big mainstays. It's also the recipe that I've spent the most time in adjusting fermentation temperatures and tweaking malt bill and timing and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beer that continually surprises me. And it's number one in my production, and it is number one of my favorite beers. There's nothing better after a long, hard day of work than a nice, crisp Mexican lager that has something to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
Then, probably right behind that's going to be West Coaster Secret, the single and the double West Coast IPA.
Okay.
Two of my favorites. Then a curveball at the end will probably be like Mai Tai.
Oh, I was looking at that one. I was curious about that.
Yeah, Mai Tai's fun. So I got on a big tiki kick probably like 10 years ago where I just loved tiki stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, how can I take tiki drinks, classic tiki drinks, and kind of influence the beer, but I don't want to just add the fruit in, completely ferment it out. I want to do something a little different because tiki drinks are generally very sweet and very tropical.
Yeah.
When you ferment out all the fruits, there's hints there, and you can kind of do it with hops and things like that. But I do a lot of fresh pressed juices and stuff in that beer. So I take the cocktail recipe, make a recipe that I really like, then I figure out how to put it into beer.
Wow. So you kind of reverse engineer it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
100%.
Now, if somebody were to walk in and never had your beer, what for flight would you give them?
Oh, our core 5.
Okay.
For sure. So it would be Cristobal,
Gotcha.
my Mexican lager, Seymour, my Kolsch,
Yeah.
Baltra, my Amber, Isabella, my Belgian Wit,
Okay.
and Kicker Rock are just like East Coast meets West Coast IPA.
Nice.
Kind of old school, but big West Coast hops on it.
That's awesome. So, not trying to get you in any trouble, but who are your 5 favorite LA or SoCal breweries?
5 favorite SoCal or just California breweries? It's easier to think about it by style.
Oh, okay.
So when it comes to like sours and barrel aging and things like that, I really think about what Jonathan Porter, what Smog City's done is really, really cool, really great stuff. When I think of West Coast IPAs, I think El Segundo.
Okay, yeah.
And they're definitely making some great IPAs. Lagers, if you've had anything from completely having a brain blank. They have a new place in Chinatown, Highland Park.
Okay.
Highland Park makes some really, really clean pilsners and lagers. Then you gotta pay respects to the OG guys that have been doing it for a long time. So like Sierra Nevada's always been a big fan of them.
Yeah.
Not SoCal, but like New Belgium. Yeah.
Sure.
Before they sold out. I don't know. I don't really drink a lot of other people's beer these days.
Okay, see, I always wondered that with brewers too. Like, how much time do you really have to try other people's beers?
I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't go to a lot of breweries outside of here, and unless I like run into one of my colleagues or a friend, or I'm at a beer festival, I really don't get to try what other people are doing.
Huh?
Or someone hands me a beer here, like, hey, I grabbed this the other day at this brewery. You should really try it. I like it. That's a lot of the times how I end up trying new beers.
Well, there you go. Now we know if you're coming by here, bring you at least a beer from somewhere else. So
There
you
you
can
go.
try other things. Sounds like you need to have probably a monthly be more feasible. Bottle share. Just have people bring stuff, whatever, and then you can just try everything new.
If I had, like, a lot of my regulars aren't like craft beer people. They're
Really?
just beer people.
Okay.
We do have people that really like craft beer and go to like multiple other breweries and stuff. But I think the overwhelming majority of people that come here are just like, they really like our beer and they really like coming here after work, and that's our diehard regulars.
That's awesome then.
We do a monthly, I host my local homebrew club here.
Oh, okay.
And every month, on the third Thursday, they're here for their meeting. And there's definitely like people bring beers and share beers, and there's a style of the month.
Ah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So we kind of do that.
Right. Interesting. Now, this is the Brewsers podcast, so I have to ask, if you were an MMA fighter or pro wrestler, what would your name be?
No idea. No idea on that one. I don't know, I feel you'd have to play on the Tortugo somehow.
I would say so. But just how, I guess, would be.
How? I don't know, like the flying Tortugo, or...
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, right?
That sounds really good.
There you go.
Yeah, well, we figured it out.
I think we made it happen.
Yeah. So, if people want to find out more about you guys, visit y'all, follow you online, try your beers, how can they do all the things?
Instagram's always going to be the best.
Okay.
We update that the most, and that's where we're most active. We're always posting up new beers, fun events, things like that.
There you go.
Trying us all over the Southern California region. We are in a little bit in Orange County, a little bit into Inland Empire, but mainly Los Angeles County.
Cool.
Then the tap room in Inglewood is always going to be your best bet.
There you go. Well, Joe, thank you so much for your time. This place is beautiful, and every time I'm coming to SoCal, I'm going to come here. So
Thanks, man.
no problem. Thank you so much to Joseph from Tortugo.
again, such a fun interview, as you just heard. What a fun interview. What a great guy. What a great brewery. I cannot wait to go back out there and find out what it is like when multiple people were there, because it was just him and I there. And so it's going to be even better with, it's always better with a large crowd, with a good group of people. So if you're in Los Angeles or you're going to Los Angeles, make sure to check out Tortugo Brewing. Also, while you are out and about, make sure to sign up for the newsletter again. That way you can find out everything that's happening with your favorite podcast that's all about beer, coffee, booze, and Brewsers. So in the meantime, go out and enjoy life, drink local, and cheers.